Right after Pearl Harbor, the Japs grabbed up most of the islands in the Pacific. At Guadalcanal, we learned how to fight the Jap, and he learned that we were coming back. At New Georgia, it took us a bit longer, but we learned a lot more. At New Britain, we beat the Jap at jungle fighting. Macon Atoll brought us into the Gilberts. Tarawa was fast and tough and expensive. Kwajalein was next. It gave us control of the Marshalls. We were halfway back. And Eniwetok made veterans of us all. Now we were ready to smash at Japan's front door, the Marianas Islands, Saipan, Tinian, and Guam. D-Day, the battle for the Marianas. The LSTs unload their Amtraks. We attack again, a joint assault force of Army, Navy, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. Saipan. Nothing can stop the Amtraks except a direct hit. We keep driving in. One of our planes is hit. Jap fire pins us down. Start across the beach. The Jap throws everything he has at us. Many of us are hit. Even the wounded carry on. We secure our first foothold in the Marianas. Another D-Day. To the south, another joint assault force smashes at Guam. Coast Guard gets us through heavy enemy fire. Guam is American ground. The first piece of territory the Jap took from us. We're taking it back. The flag is planted again on Guam. It has a special meaning for every one of us. On Saipan, we strike for our first objectives. Tank and infantry teams push inland. We push on to the Jap air base. There it is, Aslito Field. Precision bombing and shelling before D-Day wrecked the hangars and buildings but saved the runways. Now we can use ground-based fighters and bombers. The Nips got out in such a hurry, we captured many of their planes undamaged. This Zero was caught in its revetment. With the Aslito Field secure, we head north through the cane fields. We hack through the hills and underbrush day after day, taking with us only the most important things: weapons. One night, they massed their tanks and counterattacked. This is what happened to all their tanks. The Japs knocked out one of ours. Those are the Japs. The Navy's big guns keep hammering away. When this Jap ammunition dump blew up, it shook the whole island. Flamethrowers move up. Heavy enemy fire is coming from those caves. Burn them out of their pillboxes. The fight is on for Garapan, capital of the Marianas. Army artillery goes into action. At the same time, we shell Tinian Island across the channel from Saipan. When we take Tinian, we get the biggest airfield of the Marianas. The battle for Garapan and Mount Tapacho goes on 24 hours a day. This tank runs interference while we evacuate our wounded under heavy Jap fire. Snipers have to be cleaned out. We use rockets. We smoke them out with incendiaries. We take a Jap prisoner. battle from inside a tank. Lieutenant General Holland Smith, U.S. Marine Corps, commanding the assault forces. Another Jap oil dump goes up. Thunderbolts take off from our new field. We blast the Jap command post overlooking Tanapag Harbor. Bomb Jap strong points in the hills. The Japs bring down another one of our planes. Enter Garapan. Now it's house-to-house fighting. They're waiting behind hedges, underneath buildings, behind walls, everywhere. 37s are used to knock them out of their emplacements. Jap makes a run for it. Garapan is ours. Japs fall back slowly. Tough going in the hills. Tracers find their gun positions. We corner them on the north end of the island. Loudspeakers are broken out and a friendly native broadcasts an appeal for them to surrender. We hold our fire. We wait. Many civilians do surrender. They set up community kitchens, and make rice balls. For those who refuse to surrender, final cleanup is on. Our front line advances. Sniper is burned out. We reduce a bunker. Some try to escape by swim. Hand grenades are effective. They take up positions in the cliffs. We have to pick them off one by one. Some choose suicide by jumping. Others surrender. And some fight until the end. Buried our dead, 4,470. O'Connor, Vandermeer, Schultz, Levine, Kalafatich, Smith, Olson.
Remember Honolulu? As if any of us from the 81st Wildcats could forget it. Seems a lot longer than it really is since the days we played around here. Those 4 days at Waikiki, those Wahinis, if you got lucky. Of course, there were guys who'd rather go swimming. That's us. July 1944. Sleeping in the hot sun after all those rugged months of jungle training. Fat, sassy, and shaved. We thought then we knew all the answers. This came under the heading of morale building. Of course, some characters needed more than others. But while we were taking it easy, headquarters was doing its job. General Richardson, commanding general, Pacific Ocean area, and his staff were cooking up a different kind of party for us. It began the day we started on the boat ride, wondering where the hell we were going and how we were going to do when we got there. 2 solid years of training in back of you, but training and climbing through the ropes on fight night are 2 different things. There were more than a couple of guys climbing that gangplank who were giving that subject their private attention. And we shoved off on our little excursion of about 6,000 miles over water. We were going down under. That's all we knew. We'd have even been glad to see a Kapu sign if it were standing on dry land. Every man with a cabin to himself. Picture of a guy getting fixed up to go to a concert. But it never made you stop wondering where you were going. Time on our hands, so we figured out ways to spend it. With a few bucks thrown in for a side bet. One way of getting tired enough to climb into your bunk. Back the loser, bub? On number 3 hatch port side, the admirers of Lower Basin Street chamber music got it their way. Remember Curly Miller? The boy could really go to town. The day we crossed the equator and the shellbacks got their crack at the pollywogs. And there's still some of us in the outfit who take off at the sight of a curved stick. No, brother, that is not beer. Clipped, goosed, slugged, and half drowned, but no beefs. The collar merchants fitted the general for size. The local barbers gave him a once-over lightly. Dental inspection. A rub-down at the club. The treatment's finished and the general's a shellback. When you look back now, you can remember a lot of laughs on that boat ride, but mostly it was just plowing along through that ocean, under that sky tent, and waiting, and watching for Jap subs or carrier planes. There was plenty of time for thinking. 30 days for it. Thinking about a lot of things you remembered. Sometimes about what was ahead. That was a special kind of thinking. And when you looked around, you saw you weren't the only one doing it. Somehow it made you feel a lot closer. It was the end of August when we dropped anchor off Guadalcanal in the Solomon Islands to go ashore for our dry run. weren't any Jap Capu signs on the beach, but when you hit it, you got that quick flash about the guys who were here ahead of us at Guadalcanal and the job they did. To look at it, you couldn't believe that beach had ever felt the bite of live ammo. They said we did okay on the canal dry run. When we left the Solomons, we still didn't know where our next stop was, but it was getting closer. And when we got there, somebody was going to be shooting at us.
All hands. All hands. Now hear this. The objective of this task force is the Palau Islands, 8 degrees north of the equator and 530 miles east of the Philippines. By occupying these islands, we will complete the sealing off of the important Jap strongholds to the east. Truk, Ponape. We'll help protect General MacArthur's right flank when he strikes against the Philippines.
General MacArthur? Back to the Philippines? But what was our job going to be exactly? Anguar. That's our job. Southernmost of the Palau group. About 3 square miles of limestone and coral. Japs got a lot of their phosphate here. Okay, what do we do? The 322nd hits Red Beach in the northeast. The 321st will land on Blue Beach. 323rd stands offshore in reserve. General Miller and Admiral Blandy knew that the Japs were expecting us in the south. We were going ashore through the choppy surf under the narrow beaches in the north. Fan out fast until the 2 beachheads joined up, then move down the island. This was finally it. What the last 2 years had been for. We had the training and we had the weapons. There was Anguar. On it, holed up in caves and pillboxes, was a tough Jap regiment with plenty of experience in China back of them. This was our first time. How were we going to do? Remember the morning of September 17th? The carriers opened the show. First wave shove off. That's us. Let's go. Scared? Who wasn't? At least the waiting's over. We piled onto Red Beach. Grab it, brother. You'll need it. A 20-foot sand cliff to climb we didn't know about. And we were pinned down by machine gun fire and mortars. It helped to see other guys looking like you felt. But they were taking it too. That helped more. Blue Beach. Machine gun fire wasn't so bad. Our planes knocked out their mortars. But still no place to get caught with your pants down. They had no regular defense line. They melted right into the ground. We had to blast or burn every damn last one of them out. Naval artillery raised so much hell with Blue Beach, the Amtraks had a tough time making it. Back at Red Beach, things had got better. We were able to move in off the beach, which was also nicely torn up. We started blasting them out of their rat holes with satchel charges. By H+1 hour, we had a combat intelligence center operating, but we couldn't locate anybody for intelligence to talk to. They wouldn't come out alive. Medics brought casualties down to the beach while we went on burning and blasting, extending the beachhead. And for every litter that went out, 6 other guys came in. As soon as we had a good toehold, landing craft started delivering in back of us, building up an ammo dump. The Japs were still on high ground to the northwest, with mortars. They hit the dump. We saved most of it. But who wants to be a fireman at a time like this? General Miller came ashore the next morning to get a first-hand look at the scoreboard. It was no setup. Inland, the Japs were acting tough. We'd had snipers and mortars on us all that first night. Plus, they're trying to infiltrate through the lines for some quiet knife work. That second morning, we were behind schedule. Red and blue beachheads still weren't joined up. But we kept slugging until we did join up. And all the time moving inland. Then we got to Shrine Hill. Remember? Caves 15 feet deep, dug out of solid coral. Entrances barricaded with coconut logs, leaving firing slits only a couple of inches wide. They were tough monkeys. There'd still be some of them in there firing even after you'd put a 25-pound satchel charge under them. Tough, all right, but they could be had. So we took Shrine Hill, one place where they wouldn't pray to their ancestors anymore. Then we got to Saipan Town. What was left of it. By this time, we'd cooked, blasted, or shot 600 of the little apes. And had what we came for, including the phosphate plant. These phosphate diggings, about the best in all the Jap-mandated islands, were out of business at this stand permanently. We weren't taking chances. They know how to hide like the murdering weasels they are. We heard that some of them were still on high ground up to the north. But by the end of the third day, we'd shoved them back into the northwest corner and the southern tip of the island. The first chance to let down in 3 days. While you clowned around, there were a couple of things rattling around in the back of your head. These guys you'd been with a couple of years, you realized you hadn't really known them until the morning you hit the beach together. You had a different angle on them now, and wondered if they were thinking about that too. While all of this had been going on, our 321st pulled out for Peleliu Island, 6 miles to the northeast. The 1st Marines were finding it heavy going up there. The 321st went up to give them a hand. The rest of us who stayed on Anguar had our own job to finish. The jungle was still lousy with Jap snipers, but we couldn't wait to clean them out to get the airstrip in. With a rifle covering every couple of axes, the aviation engineers started hacking out the strip. The sooner it's in, the sooner we can use it as a base to plaster the rest of the Palaus. Not quite right for a B-29 yet, but recon planes could start to use it, and did. That island way in the background is Peleliu, where our 321st was battling Japs. Anguar was ours, but not quite. Up in the northwest corner, there's a piece of high ground we were starting to call Suicide Hill. To get to it, we had to move up the narrow gauge leading from the phosphate works into the defile that, for good reason, got the name of Bloody Gulch. There were plenty of Jap machine guns and snipers up there, too. A Jap 75, mounted on rails, kept poking out, firing, and pulling back into a cave. We couldn't see what the hell was going on up ahead, but the tanks could. They were checking with each other over the radio.
Vincennes, repeat your last transmission. I did not hear. Over. I said we're stopped by enemy fire at the head of the gulch. Sea breeze, I think it's sea breeze, just got hit up ahead. Vincennes, this is Boober. I'm pulling Cherry back out of the gulch. I'll tell you what to do. After the wounded are removed, use your gun to blast that tank out of the road. Over.
Okay, I'll try that, but it may take a lot of AT. I suggest the infantry blast it out with satchel charges.
Can a demolition squad get near enough? What about enemy fire? Over.
They can get up there. They can get up there. We're under fire all right, but those litter bearers are working right in it. They're bringing those guys out with stuff kicking up all around them. Brother, what guts.
All right, then. I'll contact infantry. As soon as our wounded are out of the gulch, we'll blast. Will any combat vehicle to the rear speak to me? Come in, please. Over.
Okay, Cyclone. This is Paul Copper. Over.
I want you to warn all infantry in your vicinity to take cover. Get them off the rails. We're going to blast up ahead. Now, to any combat vehicle near there, pull back out of the way. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
I heard you, Cyclone. This is Rose. I'm right in there, but not too close.
Not too close, he says. But the way is cleared now for the 2nd Battalion to move through the gulch. We were going to start a little encircling maneuver. So we split up. Some of us went up the rise to the right. The rest of us went to the left, going in with everything we could carry. Yeah, and everything we could throw. It was going to be Suicide Hill for the Japs now. We had them really holed up now. We called back for mortars and 155s. They really got it, all afternoon and into the night. That was the end of all real resistance on Anguar, and the end of our first fight. It had been no cinch. They'd poured everything they'd had on us, from 75s down. But we'd won our first battle, and we had a right now to call ourselves the 81st Wildcats. When you watched those guys come out, you realized something you hadn't known. How mad you got when the bastards hit the guy next to you. Colonel Venable, our regimental commander, was hit by that 75. With the rest of our officers, he'd been right up there with us. From the top down, the 81st had gone in and come out all right.
These are the faces of men who fight. These are the tired faces of men who have seen death. These are the faces of men from your own hometown who carried the flag of America a step nearer to Tokyo. Look at these faces. Here's the boy who sold you gasoline on a Sunday afternoon. Here is an American boy. Looks tired, doesn't he? He is. Here's the boy who came calling on Saturday evening and took your daughter to a movie. Here's the boy that everyone predicted would make All-American when he went to the State University. But he didn't go. These men don't like war. But the enemy must be met and destroyed wherever he can be found. They know that. And so do you. Are you doing everything you can to help them? Are you buying war bonds? Bonds that pay for the weapons with which they fight? Bonds that provide places for them to rest and hospitals in which their wounds may heal? Are you buying war bonds to the limit of your ability to ensure that a strong and worthwhile America will be waiting when these men return?
Patrol plane. Routine patrol. Only behind every cloud may be an enemy. Midway Island. Not much land, right enough. But it's our outpost. Your front yard. These are the natives of Midway. Tojo has sworn to liberate them. The birds seem nervous. There's something in the air. Something behind that sunset. Excitement this morning. The dawn patrol has sighted an enemy fleet. During the night, flying fortresses had landed at Midway.
An historic council of war is held.
That fellow's walk looks familiar. My neighbor's boy used to amble along just like that. Say, Say, is that one of them flying fortresses?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Why, that's young Will Kinney. He's from my hometown, Springfield, Ohio. He's not going to fly that great big bomber.
Yes, ma'am, that's his job. He's a skipper.
Will's dad is an engineer. 38 years on the old Ironton Railroad. And his mother, huh? Well, she's just like the rest of us, Mother, Springfield or any other American town. And his sister, Patricia. She's about as pretty as they come.
I'll say so.
Well, Junior Kinney. Good luck. God bless you, son.
Suddenly, from behind the clouds, the Jats attacked. There go the Marines!
This really happened.
time our warships stalked the Jap fleet. Suddenly, the trap is sprung. Navy planes roared from the decks of our carriers. Army bombers, Marines, thundered destruction over a 300-mile battle area. Invasion forces were hit and hit and hit again.
Men and women of America, here come your neighbor's sons, home from the day's work. You want to meet them. There's Jimmy Thatch, 7 meatballs on his plane.
How many more today, Skipper?
Back at Midway, Tojo swore he'd liberate the natives.
They seem just as free as they ever were.
The Battle of Midway is over. Our front yard is safe, but a big job is still to be done. Day after day, our patrol planes search for survivors. Every tiny coral reef, every distant mile of sea. Search for men who fought to the last round of ammunition and flew to the last drop of gas and then crashed into the sea. 8 days, 9 days, 10 days without food or water.
His first cigarette.
Boy, that first drag sure tastes good.
$11 days. Well done, Matthew Hughes. Logan Ramsey. Frank Fessler.
That's 13 for Frank.
those boys to the hospital. Please do, quickly. Get them to clean cots and cool sheets. Get them doctors and medicine, a nurse's soft hands. Get them to the hospital. Hurry, please.
There was a hospital. Clean, orderly, 100 beds. And on its roof the Red Cross plainly marked. The symbol of mercy the enemy was bound to respect.
The next morning, divine services were held beside a bomb crater that had once been a chapel. At eventide, we buried our heroic dead. The last salute from their comrades and their officers.
Captain Simard of the Navy. Colonel Shannon.
Major Roosevelt.